Hey everybody, Nick Nack here, and after putting a ton of work scripting it, I'm finally here to count down my top 10 games of 2014. Now, if this video does be uploaded on this day, first off, I just want to tell you that today is my birthday, and I turned 23. Like if this video is on the January 17th, but that's besides the point. Happy birthday to me. But anyway, 2014 for me was a surprising year because honestly, I wasn't looking forward to it that much in terms of games, which is why I didn't make an most anticipated list for that year. But lo and behold, I was blown away out of nowhere with some damn good releases that I didn't either expect to be released that year, or I just dabbled in it and suddenly fell in love with Game A or Game B. Here are the 10 I was fortunate enough to play. But before I start, as usual, let me go over a couple of things. One, due to not having next-gen consoles, I unfortunately wasn't able to play the big hitters like Shadow of Mordor, Sunset Overdrive, and Dragon Age Inquisition. And two, these are the games that I enjoyed a ton during the year. So don't get mad over my opinion. So with these out of the way, let's begin the countdown. Starting off the list at number 10 is Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax. First off, sure, it might be cheating putting an import on this list, but hey, it's not like this game is gonna be released in America sometime soon, so it's basically worthy in my eyes to be here. But getting back on track, this was a fighting game I was really excited for, and once I popped it in my PS3 after it shipped from PlayAsia, I will have to say the game delivered. I really liked the roster. The 3-bind control scheme was both easy to get into and complex to master. What few modes I've played were fun. And the biggest thing I loved about the game was its presentation. Like damn are the sprites and effects beautiful in this game. On top of it, boy do I love them stages. Especially as a guy who enjoys Sega. If you don't know what I mean by that, then check out the gameplay. Now, even though I enjoyed it thoroughly, it starts the list at number 10, mainly due to the fact that it's pretty hard to get into because of the language barrier. Sure, it's a dumb reason, but damn do I want to know what's going on in the story modes and all those other modes and gameplay stuff. But other than that, I think it's a really good game so far, and that's why it's on the list. My number 9 is also another fighting game, and that's Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. When me enjoying the first Persona 4 Arena, I knew I had to get this. So I did, and then I enjoyed it. Now sure, the gameplay can feel exactly the same as the first, due to its presentation being the same, and the gameplay just feeling as if nothing's changed. But as they say, don't fix it if it's not broken. Other than that, the biggest reason on why I enjoyed this game was its content and how much they've put to make sure it was worth the price. There are plenty of new characters worth trying, and they have badass designs, in my opinion. The Golden mode, or Golden Arena mode, from what I've played, is an awesome addition that gives RPG elements to a fighting game, and the story mode from what I've seen is just one thing and not just a whole bunch of branching paths that get convoluted and whatnot. Overall, I think this title is a must-own for any Persona fan, and fortunately, if you want to experience the whole story of the first game without buying the first game, the first game's story is available for download for this game. Sad part is, for some, it's priced at $10. So number 9, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Number 8 is an iOS game that I've been playing a fair share of, and that's Chain Chronicle. Now I won't say much about this game because my last video talks about my love for it. But the reasons for me enjoying this game a lot, to the point it has a spot on my list, is because of its damn good graphics, having a damn good collecting system, and being free to play without the feeling of being extremely screwed over when it comes to the little stuff. I definitely recommend it if you're an RPG fan looking for a game to play on the iPhone. At number 7 is another iOS game, and that's WWE Supercard. Same as my last entry, I'm not going to say much because I covered it in my last video, but I think this game is awesome due to its fast and easy gameplay, its various modes, its character upgrading system that isn't a hassle, and the fact that there honestly is no need to shell out the money for this game unless you're that desperate and impatient when it comes to completing sets of cards. It honestly is worth a try if you want to waste a couple of minutes playing something but quick and simple. Coming in at number 6 is a game that I unfortunately didn't finish due to accidentally screwing myself over with by accidentally erasing my own save file on. But despite it, I had a lot of fun with it to a point that it deserves a spot on my list. And that's Akiba's Trip Undead and Undressed. Now sure, there are some people I know that weren't fans of this game, and I myself had a couple of problems with it. But the game tries to pay homage to the great city of Akihabara, and for the most part, it delivered on it, which is the main reason on why I love this game, for its setting. I pretty much loved exploring the city, seeing all these cosplayers and otakus, seeing all these promotional ads for animes and video games, seeing all these buildings that sell that stuff. It definitely is a place for guys like me. Other than the setting was its gameplay, which though repetitive to some, was really fun nonetheless. I liked how you had to target certain body parts with certain buttons, rather than just repeatedly press the same button again and again before being able to take off their clothes. On top of that, I also liked how they let you chain combos and give you options on how you undress your enemies to make sure the game wasn't boring. With gameplay like that, along with some amazing RPG elements, and like the setting of course, I really thought this game was amazing. And once I get a PS4, I'm most likely sure to pick it up because it was that fun with me. Like for me, yeah. So number 6, Akiba's Trip Undead and Undressed. Number 5 is a digital title that surprised me a ton, and that's Child of Light. When I first heard about this title, I was interested in the sense that it pays homage to some of my favorite JRPGs. So once it was on sale, I picked it up and was pretty enthralled with what it had to offer. Its painting-like graphics were just so beautiful to look at. The soundtrack was so serene, and each piece fit the moments given to it. The story of how the main character goes on this adventure to grow stronger and help out her father was nice, and how like fairy tale like the story was. But of course, the biggest draw about this game for me was the unique gameplay, with how it combines puzzles, platforming, and JRPG battles into one. Pretty much you're thrown into a world in which you have to solve puzzles and to avoid dangers with the help of this little sidekick you have. And once you encounter various enemies and bosses, you're put into this battle system that feels a bit reminiscent of games like Grandia or Final Fantasy X. And it just feels so awesome. With again, how much of a homage it is, as well as being easy for newcomers to the JRPG genre. Pretty much, if you're a fan of fantasy JRPGs and are wanting one that is both easy and short to play, this is a title I truly recommend. Heck, for $15, it's worth a try. My number 4 is another digital title that I haven't finished yet. But damn, it's just that impressive to me to the point that I'm not afraid to put it at this number. And that's Valiant Hearts The Great War. Now, I think I'm trying to be a history major, and one topic that was interesting to learn about was World War I, with how it all began and how fucked up it was. And for most part, this game was able to convey how horrible it was, even with having puzzle-oriented gameplay and cartoony graphics. So far from what I've played, it's pretty emotional seeing this reenactment of families getting torn apart and hundreds of innocent people dying over fighting I consider pointless. Sure, it's a game, but remember that the stuff actually happened. Now, other than how the game presented itself in World War I, the game was unique with puzzle-oriented gameplay, as I'm saying again, with how you're presented with an obstacle, and throughout the various characters' abilities and things given, you have to find a way to overcome them, and maybe it might be because I'm dumb, but these puzzles were well crafted and made me think. But not only was the gameplay consisting of puzzles, it also consisted of finding collectibles and being a bit of a rhythm game, which makes the game worth playing more. Overall, what I've played so far, Valiant Hearts is a really enjoyable title that delivers in showing what World War I is about, and in my opinion, it deserves a playthrough. Coming in at number 3 will have to be the biggest Nintendo release of the year. And of course you know what that is, with a description like that. Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS and Wii U. Now in terms of this, I only played a bit of the Wii U version and a lot of the 3DS version, but I'm confident enough to talk about both of them nonetheless. Anyway, what else is there to be said about the new Smash Bros. That hasn't been already said? It's another Smash Bros. Game, and it delivers on all fronts. The new characters are some awesome additions to the roster, and each one is fun to play and strategize with. The new stages are great, and I'm glad that you're able to modify them to play like Final Destination or Battlefield. Even though there's no Subspace Emissary, the new modes and other modes are still plentiful and fun to get into. And of course, the gameplay is more improved, with it being a step over of what Brawl was. Pretty much, Nintendo gave us the usual with the new Smash Bros, and I think it delivered because I just find them to be all fun. The only reason why this is at number 3 is because of the amiibos. I am fucking pissed off what they're doing with those. And also, as I said again, is because of Subspace Emissary. Other than that, there's nothing more to be said about a game that I bet 90% of people have already bought. Number 2 will have to be honestly the biggest surprise of the year, and that's South Park: The Stick of Truth. Just like plenty of other people, I was a bit skeptical on this game being good due to the delays and the developer, but I have to say that Obsidian has outdone themselves because this game was just plain amazing. Playing as a new resident of South Park and going through the wackiness that the characters of the show go through has never been so fun, and the story that happens throughout it was pretty well crafted. In terms of the story, I think the writers of the show got to go crazy on it and do stuff I bet they can never do on their show. And each OMG moment delivers. I can pretty much go on with the epic moments of hilarity in this game, but it would be a spoiler, so I will end it with that when it comes to talking about story. In terms of graphics, they're awesome with how much it looks exactly like this show in terms of characters and world exploration. Also, the fact that they don't run as horribly as Obsidian's past titles is also a definite plus. Lastly, is the gameplay, which is damn entertaining to watch and fun to play, because it would be best described as turn-based in its simplest form. But with the little additions and features they've put into it, such as timing to defend opposing attacks, inflicting pretty funny ailments on your enemies, or having these epic looking attacks that pay both homage to certain episodes or RPGs in general. Overall, if you're looking for an easy to get into turn-based RPG that's worth the money, and is short because believe it or not, this game takes less than 20 hours to complete, South Park The Stick of Truth is worth the buy. And everything about this game is why it's so high at number 2 on my list. But as it shows, there's one game that just delivered for me, which is why it's at the list at number 2. Let me talk about that game right now at number 1. And finally, at number 1, as my favorite game of 2015, is pretty much not a surprise, assuming that you know I'm in love with the series, and that of course is Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth. Unfortunately, I haven't finished the game yet, but I'm 30 hours in, and I am loving every single minute of it. When I first heard about this game, I knew I was gonna get day 1, so I did, and man, am I not afraid to give it so high praise. This game just oozes the stuff I love about the series in all departments. The story is a great mystery that makes me want to know on how the conflict got started in the first place that led to these characters meeting. Speaking on the topic of characters, I personally love the interactions between them, and seeing how smooth the main characters are always brings a smile to my face. In terms of presentation, I love the chibi art style, the dungeons are always a sight to behold, and the music delivers on all fronts. But of course, the biggest positive about Persona Q is its gameplay, which I can't get enough of. Now, in terms of Etrian Odyssey, I have no experience with the franchise, so I can't make comparisons. But I really love the dungeon crawling and map making features, and the roast style combat is awesome by how much strategy is needed, which you especially need tons of because the game is very difficult to the point that it feels rewarding. In terms of the persona aspects, I love how you can have all sorts of combinations with how everybody that can equip a second persona, and in terms of the fusions, it's the same as usual, but with an added feature that lets you use some of the personas as experience points, which is awesome if you want to level up certain ones. In conclusion, just by being a crossover I dreamed of, having fun addicting gameplay, and having the features that made me all fall in love with the series, I have to give Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth my honor as being my favorite game of 2014. So that was my favorite list of 2014 games. As always, let me know what your favorite games of the year last year was. I always love reading the comments and hearing what our people have to say. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Take it easy, and until next video.